Welcome. Welcome back to another news adventure after this glorious 4th of July weekend. I still have all 10 fingers. I hope. Yep, all 10 there.
Yep.
We have a gentleman. This gentleman also has all 10 of his fingers. Now, we all know who he is. There's no introductions needed. You kind sir, you have the floor. Tell us the wonderful news that you have for Sandusky.
Well, I just got to touch base on a couple of things to make sure that everybody's on the same page. We're doing the best we can with what we've got going on, and there was some concerns and questions by some drivers, so I figured this was the best way to handle it. So big cars, 6 plates fresh, 10 plates used. It's still going to be that way. There was some people that wanted more for the fresh cars, and it just we're going to stick with what we got for now. Um, Now, with that being said, the definition of used is going to get played a million times over. But, and here's something for the used guys as well. If you ran your car somewhere and you bring it and it didn't need 10 plates to show up, or your fresh car has 6 plates, after the heat, you technically are running both used cars. So if you have plates and you want to put them on after the heat, you have time. I'm not going to make extra time for somebody to weld plates on, but if you have time between the heat and the feature, you're more than welcome to weld them on. We need to see the plates, obviously, so that we make sure that they are either the 4x6 or 5x5s, and we want things marked. I know we said no painting the frames, and we do not really want paint on the frame on any of the cars. It says it right in the rules, but paint marker or something to mark the plate so that we can see it easier. Because 10 plates, I mean, this is a lot, you know, and it's a good money show. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but let everybody know, 6,000 to win, 3,000 for second, 1,500 for third, 700 for fourth, and then 3 cars out of the heat get to go to the feature and they get $850 a piece. If we feel that somebody is a mad dog and really running hard, we pull them. They won't get the $150, but they will get a spot in the feature. That was something else that I needed to touch on. I think that's about it right now for the big cars. I mean, if you painted your frame black just to make it look good, please wire wheel as much of it as you can off. We have a month. I mean, it literally stated in there to not paint the frames, and I'd like to stick to that because it just makes our job easier. A lot of times when somebody paints a frame, there's a reason why, and as a builder and a driver, you can state, well, I painted my frame because I didn't do that. Well, how do I know that? I don't know that because I don't know you or whatever, and I'm not picking on anybody in general. I'm just literally stating, it is what it is. I'd rather there not be paint on the frames like the rules state, wire wheel off what you can, burn off with a torch, whatever you got to do. I don't know. But if you burn it off with a torch, make sure you wipe it down because I don't want to deal with soot either. Yeah, that's about it on that. And then small cars I wanted to touch on was I've had a few people ask me, and I don't see really an issue with it. The aftermarket shifter or pedals or steering columns. To me, that just makes the show better. If they have them and they want to run them, so be it. As long as you don't have a 18-inch plate that your pedals are on that is connected to the welded to the floor or something that's going to keep the frame from bending. It is what it is. I'm not going to freak out about the fact that you have that. And I wanted to touch base to make sure that everybody remembers that a fresh car can get 2 of the 4 plates on it. And that was because of the show in Emily City. They were allowed 4, and there was some cars that didn't get to run. So, and then instead of trying to make them cut their plates off, And anybody that's run a small car knows you're not cutting that plate off. You're going to damage the frame more trying to cut it off than what you would have if you'd left it bent. So we're just going to go with that. 2 plates fresh. You get 4 total on a used car. So I guess that also leads into, if your car needed 2 plates after you ran it, you still have 4, and you can still put 4 on it if it didn't have any plates. So if, Richard, if your car that you ran last year needed 2 plates and you put them on and you still had your 2 extras, you could put them wherever you want theoretically, because the used car is allowed 4 plates and a fresh car gets 2. So you get to have what the fresh car had prior. So we'll touch on paying $1,300 to win for that show, $800 for second and $400 for third. We're hoping, we have a raffle car out there. If people are interested, contact me and we will find a way to do either, Venmo or something to get a digital pay. If you're not close enough to buy tickets and come get them from one of us or our locations, Peck Lions have them, TNT and Sandusky has them. You have some, Justin Sherman, trying to think. I have some.
There's
They're
people out there.
around. Yeah.
There's people
Yeah,
out there that have tickets. So if you want a derby and you want to get yourself in a derby car, it's $10. You have
Yeah,
1 in
$10.
500 tickets.
Yeah, and if you're an odds person, you buy 10 tickets. That's a 1 in 50 shot of winning, and that's if we sold every ticket. Obviously, if we don't sell all the tickets, your odds only go higher. So, I mean, you could end up theoretically with way bigger shot than 150, 1 in 50 to win. So, with that being said, that was I really wanted to touch base on that, because that money is going back to the drivers in one way or another. Whether it's something different for trophies or if it's more money to the pot or whatever we can do to make things better for the drivers. Again, we do this for free. I don't get paid. The guys that volunteer with me don't get paid. We don't take a dime from anything. All the money goes back to the drivers. So whatever the fair board decides is what that we're getting for an allowance is what the drivers get in one way or another. We don't take anything from that.
Yeah,
So,
and I have to speak on the raffle car. I love the idea of a raffle car. I have been doing this for 8 years. I have a bunch of money collected and accumulated and purchased into my vehicles to run. You build cars. Same concept plays. You dumped a lot of money in your vehicles. $10 a ticket? That's
cheap derby car.
that's a cheap derby car. I mean, I could put a dollar amount on a spreadsheet to tell these people how much this raffle car is. Price wise. It's cheap.
Oh yeah.
It's cheap.
The cage material, the bumper, the car itself. I mean, it adds up fast, and it's not like it was. This car is not pushing rules by any means, but it is not the most basic build. It's a good, solid build that, driven properly or driven well, can do well in the show. I mean, there is a possibility that it could make it into the money.
Okay.
It's not out of the realm of. It wasn't a junk car that we just slapped some paint on and said, "There you go, send it." Yeah, and there was some thought put into it, and work.
Yeah, a lot of work. But to
Yeah.
go on and like people have a month to buy these purchase these tickets, and I'm hoping that the person that buys this ticket or winning ticket is a new time driver that wanted to do the sport and finally got a chance to hop in the driver's seat. That's my
So do I. Because not only do we need other people in the sport, new people, but it would be nice to find somebody that has always wanted to do it and just never had time or money to do so, because not everybody's got, $1,000, $1,500, whatever it is to put a car together for the small cars. The small cars actually are starting to climb even higher than that. So to get to see somebody have that chance, that opportunity, and go out there and maybe they were somebody that was in the stands and said, hey, I can drive harder than them guys do. Now you got an opportunity to do it. Go out there and lay the smack down on somebody.
And I could be victim. I mean, I'd be out there with small cars. I mean, I don't want to be a tribute to the Lambs, but I'm going to be out there with this raffle car driver.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
But
and
yeah, you having
small cars? Yes, youth. Sorry, Richard, I cut you off. Go ahead.
You have a youth heat, don't you? I mean,
yes.
I got it circled.
Yes, so, and the youth heat. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. It was an afterthought. We didn't have money allocated for it, so it will be 100% payback of their entries. The rules are exactly as the front wheel drives for the adults. They're not going to change. So they also will get 2 plates fresh, 4 plates on a used. I don't want to make a separate set of rules. I mean, our job's going to be hard enough. The guys that we have checking cars this year are really, I know we got to step up our game. Drivers step up their game every year. So,
so what's the age for that?
12 to 17.
12 to 17. You have a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old that can be in a heat together. That will be awesome. Yes. That's another glorious way to increase car counts.
Yes.
Now you have a stepping stone.
One other thing I want to touch on is any parents that want their children to do this. If you don't feel comfortable with them running by themselves, I am perfectly okay with a passenger in that car. But you have to do the same protection on the passenger side as you would on the driver's side. And the battery, you're going to have to find a place to mount it where it's not right under your feet. I don't want people riding around with their feet on the battery.
Nope.
That's dangerous. But if you put a door bar in on the driver's side, you're putting a door bar in on the passenger side. If you're plating the outside of the door, plate the outside of the other door. I don't want that passenger hurt.
Man, you have a Power Wheels heat that's kicking off. So
yeah, we've had that for the last few years, and it's been huge. I mean, the donations that we get for the kids normally pays back. I mean, the last 3 years or so, we've paid back every child that's been there. Yep. And that pretty much, whether it was just enough to pay what they had to pay to get in or whatever, there's always been something for the kids. Plus, we get the top 3 get trophies, and then we've got a miniature big check for the kid, the winner. I always liked that. I thought that was cool. I mean, is it something that it's a wall hanger, I guess, but it just was neat to see the kids with the check and all that.
We touched base on this at the other video that we did. You also mentioned that you're splitting the track right down the middle.
Yes.
Okay.
So obviously, being that I'm a volunteer, I have people that I have to listen to, and one of the things is that normally our shows get over 11, 12. I mean, our shows are good. We don't normally have a bad show. I mean, once in a while we have some stuff that people don't 100% care for, but you can't please everybody all the time. But they run long, and the fair board and I and the rest of my team agreed that, or the team, not my team, because I'm a volunteer like everybody else. We agreed upon splitting the track to try and speed things up. It also makes it more interesting for the grandstand crowd. Instead of sitting there for 25 minutes or 20 minutes while they clear the track off, 10 minutes, whatever it is. One heat will run, and when that heat's done and the winner's been declared and they start pulling them off, we will walk over to the other track, to the other side of the track, get set up and run that side. That way it's a constant flow. And then after the consolation for the big cars, before the adult small cars go out, we will take a brief intermission and we will move in the blocks out. And the adult front wheel drives and the big cars get the whole track. So
it's gonna be unique.
And when I say whole track, I mean, I don't know if people understand what we have. Well, we just measured it the other day. The tracks, the small tracks, the divided tracks will be 100 foot by 90 feet.
100 foot by 90 foot.
Yeah. And then you're going to pull the dividers out or we'll slide them all to one end. But you're still looking at right close to 200 feet by 90 feet from end to end. So it's going to be a big track. And hopefully we have a lot of action. So I know we will 100% in the small cars, and the big cars, the guys are going to step it up a little bit, I'm sure.
That's big. 200 feet by 90 feet.
Yeah, and we've had it bigger.
Yeah.
We toned it down last year because, I mean, these motors and stuff are getting pretty wild in some of these rides. So it has been about 240, 250 at the longest it's been. I thought it was 300 at one point, but it was a little under. But you're still talking, almost the length of a football field.
Yeah.
You're 2/3 of it. So
100 yards is a football field.
Right. And that's 300 feet and we're running 200 feet. So we're 2/3 of a football field.
Yeah. So long story short, whoever's going to watch this video, like I said, always, this video will be on my Facebook page and it also will be on my YouTube channel. Any driver that's from a different state or different town or different area now knows Sandusky County has a 200-foot track.
Yep.
Everything's out there. The rules are available on the Sandusky County 4-H Fair website.
Yes.
Look them up. You can even message Dave DeLong and get a set of rules. I mean, it got a month. I mean, I never built a big car, but you should be able to get a pretty decent car together in a month.
It can be done. It can be, for sure.
And also,
we built when a friend of mine ran years ago, Donnie Rickett. We built one of his cars in 23 and a half hours, and he won that show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can be done, and it's not. I don't want to do that every day. Nobody does, but it could be done. You can build it in a month if you have to.
And also, I do believe we touched on this before. You are allowing motor swap cars to participate, correct?
Yes, from any of the groups that were close on rules, they can be there. Contact me. Let me know what class you were in. If there's a big discrepancy, then we'll settle it right away and figure it out whether it's possible or not possible. But for the most part, I believe the rules were fairly close.
Yep.
I don't know if we really call them motor swap, even though that might be the name of them, because anymore I don't know if we have a motor swap class per se in Michigan. But yeah, like I said, our builds are heavy, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, the other classes that I've seen aren't far behind. So it could be, the cars could be adjusted to run.
I just wanted to mention that because you never know. Some person stumble across this video on Facebook land and say, hey, I want to build a car, but I only got this. Now they can contact you and you can get the ball rolling and bring a pretty nasty ride to Sandusky County.
Yep, absolutely. You got to use that. used car that you think you could get another run out of, but you don't want to take it to your normal show that you'd run, bring it.
$6,000 to win.
Mhm.
You have pretty good odds. Thank you, kind sir. I'll let you get back enjoying your holiday weekend.
Thank you. You as well.
Welcome. I will see you in about a month.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Oh, one more thing. I don't know time constraints or anything like that, but how about RC Derby? Would you consider bringing that back, or how would that work?
That's something that I can discuss with Nolan Arnold. He's half crank motorsports. He's normally a driver for us, but I don't know. I'll get with him and see what he thinks if he can do that, because obviously I can't. I will be helping get cars together, inspecting cars. So I'll talk to him, see what he wants to do.
I
If he
figure I
wants
would
to do
mention
it.
that. It was in the back of my brain. I'm like, well,
Yeah, why
since
not?
yeah, like I
Something for the
said,
crowd to watch.
yeah. Thank you,
Absolutely.
and see you in a month.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Mentioned.
Okay. Okay. Could you hear?